We have to make another amendment. We forgot Cece's. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please, would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I have a roll call, please?
Present.
Present. Councilor Moriarty.
Present.
Councilor Nicola.
Present.
Councilor Peliquin. Present. Councilor Regis. Present. And Councilor Vandal.
Present.
8 here.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3, consider and accept Town Council meeting minutes of Monday, May 20th, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or corrections? None? Roll call, please.
Councilor Langevin.
Yes.
Councilor Marcucci.
Yes.
Councilor Moriarty.
Yes.
Councilor Nicola.
Yes.
Councilor Peliquin.
Yes.
Councilor Regis.
Yes.
Councilor Vandal.
Yes.
Councilor Clements.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 4, subcommittee reports. A, General Government. Councilor Regis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A meeting of the General Government Subcommittee was held on Wednesday, May 29, 2013, in the George Parent Conference Room. In attendance were Chairwoman Regis, Committee Member Councilor Peliquin, Citizen Members Larry Spinelli and Michael Janes. Also in attendance were Councilor Nicola, Councilor Clements, Councilor Moriarty, Town Manager Clark, Monique Manna, Tracy Chaplowski, Roger Cowett, Estelle Cowett, Will Canoia, Paul Zotos, Michael Marchetti, James Sotilli, Kevin Buxton, and Brian Lee. Councilor Langevin was excused. Chairwoman Regis called the meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. Agenda item number 1, discussion and review summary of Town Manager's evaluations by Town Council. Councilor Nicola discussed the evaluations received. 8 councilors responded. Councilor McDonald did not respond before his resignation. Councilor Nicola said that in general the evaluation was good. There were 24 for no observation, 23 for 1 needs improvement, 76 for 2 satisfactory, 203 for 3 good, and 165 for 4 excellent. Mr. Clark said he will be working on those items rated as needs improvement. After much discussion, Councilor Peliquin made a motion, which was seconded by Larry Spinelli, to move the question. Vote by a show of hands, all in favor, 4-0. Agenda item number 2, discuss and vote that the town of Southbridge increase the gross receipts that seniors have made in prior calendar year to be eligible to defer property taxes under Mass General Laws, Chapter 59, Clause 41A, from $20,000 to $30,000, with such amounts to apply to taxes assessed for any fiscal year beginning on or after July 1st, 2013, and to submit to council for ratification. Mr. Clark said agenda item numbers 2 and 3 are related. Mr. Canoia said the Board of Assessors have had several meetings to determine a way to help our seniors with their tax obligations. They are recommending that the income limit be raised from $20,000 to $30,000. This program is for seniors, and the property has to be their primary residence. A motion was made by Larry Spinelli and seconded by Michael Janes with a favorable recommendation to council to accept agenda item number 2 as written. Vote by a show of hands. All in favor, 4-0. Agenda item number 3, discuss and vote that the town of Southbridge reduce the rate of interest that accrues on property taxes deferred by eligible seniors under Mass General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 41A, from 8% to 5%, with such reduced rates to apply to taxes assessed for any fiscal year beginning after July 1st, 2013, and to submit to council for ratification. Mr. Canoia said the Board of Assessors are recommending that the interest rate be lowered from 8% to 5%. A motion was made by Larry Spinelli and seconded by Councilor Peliquin with a favorable recommendation to council to accept agenda item number 3 as written. Vote by a show of hands, all in favor, 4-0. Agenda item number 4, vote to ratify the contract in the amount of $29,061.73 between the town of Southbridge and Santec regarding negotiations with the insurance company on the settlement related to the airport rebuild and to submit to council for ratification. Mr. Clark said this is to pay for work already done on the negotiations with the insurance company. A motion was made by Larry Spinelli and seconded by Councilor Peliquin with a favorable recommendation to council to accept agenda item number 4 as written. Vote by a show of hands. All in favor, 4-0. Agenda item number 5, vote to authorize the town manager to enter into contract with the successful natural gas and electric suppliers for utilities related to the new middle high school. Said authorization to expire July 31st, 2013. Mr. Clark said we are in the first year of a 3-year contract. The new middle high school was not included in this contract as it had not yet been built. Energy efficiency on the new school is in the 40% range, much better than original forecast of 20%. A motion was made by Larry Spinelli and seconded by Michael James with a favorable recommendation to council to accept agenda item number 5 as written. Vote by a show of hands. All in favor, 4-0. Agenda item number 6, vote to accept policy directives in FY 2014 budget message as part of the town's future budget process. Mr. Clark said these are the policies which Standard & Poor's asked to be included in the budget process. A motion was made by Larry Spinelli and seconded by Council Pelican with a favorable recommendation to council to approve agenda item number 6 as written. Vote by a show of hands. All in favor, 4-0. Agenda item number 7 was a general discussion on future of airport operations and alternatives. Mr. Clark said he was asked at a previous meeting to provide a potential framework on the uses or reuses for the airport. He has 3 thoughts. 1, keep his airport. 2, have an appraisal done on best use for airport property. And 3, possible expansion of the landfill. Mr. Clark said these are his initial thoughts and is open to other ideas. A request was made that the Airport Commission be invited to make a presentation to council. Mr. Clark said he would invite them to come and would also invite other committees and commissions to do presentations. Much discussion was held on options for the airport. A motion to adjourn was made by Larry Spinelli and seconded by Council Pelican. Vote by show of hands. All in favor, 4-0. Meeting adjourned at 9:05 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Evelyn Rivera, recording clerk. And Madam Chair, I do not currently have another meeting scheduled, but there will be a general government meeting scheduled prior to our next council meeting.
Thank you. Agenda, DPW Subcommittee report. Councilor Vandal.
Madam Chair, I don't have a report, but I do have a meeting scheduled for Wednesday, June 19th at 7:30 p.m. in the Rice Conference Room. Thank you.
Thank you. Education and Human Services, Councilor Marcucci.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No minutes to report, but there is a meeting that's scheduled on Wednesday, June 19th at 7 p.m. in the Rice Conference Room. There's only one agenda item, so I'm sure it's not going to conflict with Councilor Vandal's meeting at all. Thank you.
Was your meeting at 7 or 6:30? 7:30, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So EHS is 7 o'clock on Wednesday, June 16th. And
19th.
DPW, June 19th, sorry. And so it's 7 o'clock for Education and Human Services on Wednesday, June 19th, and 7:30 for DPW on the same night.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. D, Planning and Development, Councilor Clements.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do not have any minutes this evening, but there is a tentative meeting scheduled for the 17th at 7 p.m. More information will follow.
That's a Monday?
That's Monday, excuse me. Yes.
Okay. And Protection of Persons and Property, Councilor Landrin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no report and no meeting scheduled at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next is Chairwoman's announcements. Really, the only thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was that on Friday night, Councilors Langevin and Councilor Marcucci and myself attended the first inaugural graduation at Southbridge High School. The new school graduation was held in the auditorium. It was very well attended. There were 91 graduates this year. It was well done and a very nice experience. We can be proud of the seniors that graduated this year. They all seem to be very much on their way to bigger and better things. With that, I'm going to turn over to the town manager for his announcements. Mr. Clark?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have several this evening.
Okay.
Just the first one is we have received information from Casella that the Southbridge Recycling and Disposal Park is scheduling on June 29th from 9 a.m. to 1 a household hazardous waste day for the residents of Southbridge and Charlton, only at the facility located at 165 Barefoot Road in Southbridge. So just for folks that like to use those events to clean up, there's an opportunity to do so. I also, we sent out material in the package, and I did not get the cover letter to go with that, so I wanted to provide a little bit of information on the topic, that we have worked very diligently to revise the personnel rules and regulations of the town. We did utilize our insurance company's guidelines that they provide. It's called Maya, is our insurance company. They have a package called HR Sentry. So we have looked at the old rules and regulations and have looked at the new set of rules and regulations and have made revisions. It's actually quite a bit of material, and I wanted to make sure that council had sufficient opportunity to look at it. I have somewhat vetted it with some of the employees and then also with department heads. So I think this is actually I think we have draft copy on there. It's probably pretty close to a final copy. But I would like to ask for council consideration of the material for the 24th meeting, the next meeting of the council. And the reason for the timeline, that gives the council about 2 weeks to review it. But we are going to have, the union is going to dissolve, the clerical union, as of June 30th. So I would like to have the new set of rules in place for as close to July 1st as I can. So I know it's a lot of material, so I wanted to try to give as much advance notice. It took a lot to get to the point that we are at, but just in order to be able to provide for a smooth transition, I think it would be try to make a good effort to get it done. And certainly if there's any questions or concerns, happy to, I don't know if what subcommittee that would go through, but if you want to have it on a subcommittee agenda to discuss, again, more than happy to do what the council has interest in. On the budget, I'd mentioned at the last meeting that the budget numbers have not come in very much changed from where they were before. So I will present, I did have a meeting with the finance team. When you take into account that we will actually use some of the taxing capacity that we have available, that the remaining balance, I think it's about $330,000, would be a portion between the town and the school. And in that, on the town side, there would be no staff reductions. We were able to look at different elements, and our utilities have been something that we believe we can pare back. So I don't believe it will have a dramatic impact on the town side. So I did wish to present that it is my obligation to present a balanced budget for July 1st. So to that end, I will put forth for the council's consideration budget adjustments. So it will not be the full 900 because some of these things don't require council action, but on the reductions, those will. So I am planning on having that in the package and out for the meeting on the 24th. Also, I do have, there's 2 public hearings on Wednesday night. 6 o'clock is the sewer and water public hearing, and then 7 o'clock is the sign bylaw revisions. So these are public meetings if you have an interest in either one. I recognize that the candidates debate is also at 7 o'clock. I hate to say it, but we picked our date first and we advertised it, so I didn't realize they were going to do that to me. But that is 7 o'clock on Wednesday. But we do have the sewer and water rates are 6 o'clock in the Veterans Meeting Room downstairs, and then the information on the sign bylaws will start at 7 o'clock. Also, we have had fairly fruitful discussions in regards to the pool opening on Randolph Street, and we do anticipate that will be open. I think it's the day after school. I think it's the 26th. I think I will have time to announce at the next council meeting, but just to let people know that we are working out the final details, and I think we're good to go on that. And then the last 2 items that I had was on, I know I have my performance review coming up as an agenda item, and I just wish to, and the only reason why I'm distributing it now is I penciled some of this stuff out kind of late last week, but just some of the accomplishments of my, during my last year, which the evaluation should occur for that period of time, And then I have suggested goals going forward as well. I don't think I necessarily need to read that, but it does say, I believe in my contract, that it is by mutual agreement that the goals will be set. So just to give you a sense for what I think I've done during the last year I've been here, and then some of the goals that I have in mind for the year coming up. I would say, too, just one of the things I probably should have had on there is that my contract next year will be my 6th year with the town, and I do have a contract renewal option that will need to be decided in February of 2014, which will be in next fiscal year. So that is something that I probably should have put in there, that the town and myself will have to decide our relationship going forward as of February. And then lastly, I do have a gentleman from Cable. It is campaign season, and we've had a lot of concerns about what can and cannot happen. And I do wish to just say, I know that there's been some feedback that I received this morning over the weekend that the town of Southbridge does not endorse any candidates for any of these elected offices. Quite honestly, you folks are my boss, so I don't do any endorsement. But I guess that people will sometimes put signs up on public property and then use town buildings or what have you as a backdrop. It's a public building. You know, honestly, we can't stop everybody for putting signs up in different locations. But, you know, the town of Southbridge, as a political organization or as a governmental organization, we do not endorse any of the candidates that run. So if people put signs up and run with the town as a backdrop, quite honestly, that's just the nature of politics, I guess. But I just wanted to say officially. And then I do wish to give Mike an opportunity to just go through. There has been some questions, too, in regards to what do we advertise on cable and what the cable policy is for political ads. And I'll turn it over to Mike to do an overview.
Before you do, Mike, I just want to clarify something, if I could.
Sure.
What you just said about signs on town property, to put a sign up and stand there with a backdrop of one of our town buildings behind you is fine, but you can't leave the sign there.
Right. Officially, there should be no signs on public property, a public right-of-way. The building inspector, as he's out and about, or if he responds to complaints, will take them down. We will house them here. We will let the candidates know, and then they can come pick up their signs. But officially, there should be no political signs on public property, which includes state right-of-way as well as town right-of-way, and obviously town properties. So my point was to try to verify that we encourage people not to put signs onto public property, because it really is something that should not occur.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just was coming up to remind everybody of our rules and regulations regarding political ads. The Cable Committee made an amendment this spring to item 9, which is program content. Under section C, number 1, it says, any community-produced program, except programs of governmental or political nature, will be granted 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. slots within the designated prime-time portion of viewing for the first 14 days of cablecast. Programs of governmental or political nature will be granted 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. slot within the designated prime-time portion of viewing for the first 14 days of cablecast. Additional times may be granted if space is available. So it got kind of crowded over October and November when we had the state rep debate, so we're just trying to keep it 1 in the morning, 1 at night. You can submit as much as you'd like, and that's how our policy is, and we're going to stick to it. The debate is coming up on Wednesday, June 12th at 7 p.m. That'll be here in the council chambers, and the last thing I wanted to update you guys on was just that channel 11 and 12. 12 is going to be upgraded to fiber within the next month, and 11 has been upgraded. All the school's equipment has come in and is installed properly. We went live for graduation. Everybody did a great job working on that too, and that'll be replayed shortly later on this week. So But if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Councilor Clements has a question.
Mr. Montigny, a citizen asked me on Monday about the graduation. Apparently, was there a sound issue on the live feed at the beginning or something? I didn't see it, so
Yeah.
is the rebroadcast, has that been adjusted? Are we having sound now?
Yeah,
for
the
that?
rebroadcast will be fine. The live broadcast had some issues, and I had called Charter last week and asked them to call the head end up at Lebanon Hill to check the sound on both the analog and digital feeds of Channel 11, people with and without cable boxes. So I called them again today in disappointment.
Okay,
but-
yes, the unfortunate citizen was concerned that they didn't, I guess, or the names when they walked in, or the music when they walked in,
Yeah.
or for a portion of it at least,
Yeah.
it was.
The replay looks nice, and it's made with the equipment that was purchased with the $60,000 that Southbridge Television gave to the high school. So it's really, really nice. It's some of the nicest stuff we've ever had on Channel 11. It should be up this week. It's
I watched a portion of the diplomas being given out yesterday, so I
Yeah.
knew there was sound then, I just wasn't
Yeah.
sure if at the beginning.
Yeah.
Super, thank you
Okay,
very
great.
much.
Thanks.
Does anybody else have any questions for Mr. Montigny? No? Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay. We're going to move on to agenda item number 7, which tonight is 2 presentations. The first being Southbridge Optical Museum, and that would be Dick Whitney. We have a handout for that.
Just have to get this up and running.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving time, and I promise I'll try and be as brief as possible, but I'm very excited by what has been happening over what seems like forever with me working on an optical museum. What I want to talk to you tonight about is really more than an optical museum. It's a dream, it's a vision that I have to grow what I'm going to report on tonight. And I'm very excited by what's been happening, and I'll explain to you. But I think what I will report on this vision as well has true economic impact, positive economic impact, which is what I think many of us care about the most, aside from the heritage that I'd like to promote. And I think what this is coming, and what I will talk about tonight when that comes on the screen, comes at a perfect time because, A, as you know from the publicity in today's paper, the 200th anniversary of the town is in 2016. And what I will be talking about will happen before then, but it will walk right into this historical vantage point, as well as I'm on the library trustee board, and we celebrate starting next year the 100th anniversary of the town. So in any case, I'll try not to take too much time, more than the hour allotted. I promise it'll be 5 or 10 minutes. In any case, but I had to start off with, I have a vision, sort of like there was a vision before me, and I don't know if everyone knows this, but what that is the Wells Building, where the subway and other businesses are now. That's where Old Southbridge Village started. That's where it was going to be. And just taking a look, a few pictures, which, by the way, I left you a presentation, but hopefully the viewers at home can see. This is the inside of Abbott Wells' house on Main Street, and this is what he had as a collection, sort of what I have now, an optical collection, which I'll report on. And that's the bowling alley in the house, and that was the collection. But then they had an idea, let's think bigger. And I'm asking you tonight to think bigger, along with me, on what I'd like to do. So this is more of the collection, and it's in a book that actually shows the concept drafted of Old Southbridge Village, but that was drafted and thought of in Southbridge, and it was born right down the street from here. I don't think people realize that, but you know the economic impact it has even today. Well, if we are to look at planning, master planning, to me, we can sell our heritage. And and from the optical standpoint, I'm very excited by what's happening. So let me first say, what I want to present tonight is kind of give you a progress report on what you probably heard for the last 12 years, Dick Whitney and his optical museum. Is it ever going to happen? Well, yes, it will. But I also need feedback, constructive. I'm not looking, certainly if you have a better idea, come to me. And I'd like to propose a historical, regional, industrial heritage museum alongside what I'm already establishing. I'm convinced for this to really be successful, that's what it needs to be. In April, and in your package, and on the opticalheritagemuseum.org website, the press release. I work for a company called Zeiss. I started at American Optical and never left, but now I work for Zeiss. Interestingly enough, my boss, who became a head person at Zeiss, lives in Australia, visited here last fall, along with people from Germany, from Zeiss. And they said, I see what you're trying to do. And it took a lot of negotiation, but I got funding. As of March 15th, I got a substantial amount of money to get off the ground. Why? Because, quite honestly, they saw so much in what I've collected that is important. So what I want to stress, and I have to touch upon a little of the optical contribution of this project, but I think I've got that pretty well nailed down. But what I need from the rest of you is to think it's not just an AO museum. If I have my dream, and I think others have a similar dream. So I want to report on it. And I'll show you shortly where, but this is me moving from storage to one of the first items I had to move to the museum location is William Beecher's travel case. William Beecher founded American Optical in 1833 at the Hartwell Building. That's his travel case, and we have it in the museum. And there's a background, which since I don't have much time, I'll go through, but we were established at the 150th anniversary of AO, and it's a world-famous collection. But just recently, a few weeks ago, I met and I said, all right, I've got Zeiss funding support, but I need organizational support, I need community support. So, unfortunately, you have me, again, talking about the museum, but there'll be other faces coming forward soon. And I'm extremely excited because a person from PPG, Pittsburgh Plate Glass, and also in the optical industry is a trustee, as is a coworker of mine from Zeiss, as is Donna Silverberg, who some of you know, and she's a wonderful person and really helpful. And I have Diane Maddock from Worcester, who's in Mass Opticians Group. She's a secretary. And Alan McKinley, who's a local business owner and runs AO Eyewear, is the treasurer. This was just recently established. Keith Cross, who's a vice chair of one of the committees that I run, optical committees called the Lens Technical Committee, that's him, and he's agreed to be involved. He lives in Worcester. So there are people outside of the community interested in working, coming Saturdays and working with me on it. And just to give you an idea, AO Eyewear, Alan McKinley, his business is booming and he's doing well. He's a Southbridge person and he's helped financially as well. So where am I talking about? Donna Silverberg made this beautiful display, but it's 12 Crane Street in the it was an artist complex beforehand. But what's beautiful about this area is we have a number of rooms for AO history, for eyewear, but I envision for Southbridge industry, for Southbridge history, everything you see, all the pictures that are in the paper, videos that I've collected, 20,000 negatives of town that AO owns, we are digitizing. We have like the original photographs of Harrington Hospital when it opened. So we have a lot of things. It's going to be there, and we have a layout. This is what we've done recently, since I got the money in March. I got Zeiss sponsorship. This will keep me going for a year. So if I don't get community support, I'm convinced it won't continue. But at least we've demonstrated the potential. Have a rental agreement, have moved everything that was in a storage area to the facility by the end of April. We did it. I have insurance. You don't think of these things, but insurance for liability, not for property per se, although that's separate. An alarm system installed, phone system, display cases mounted, shelving installed, board meeting, new attorney hired. We had to look at reorganization and refiling of some 501c filings, which is going forward nicely. But you don't think of these things. Website updated, and we even have a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. And these are just a few of the things. The move was a tremendous move, but we're just getting out from under sorting. Even at the upper right, we have all the AO China that everyone, when you were first hired in the 20s and 30s, you ate with the president of the company on the china and the silverware. So, but here's a dream. I don't want it to be a stagnant place. Well, hopefully that's a picture of the 1901 tube system that we have the receptor for. And what I want to do is in the museum, if I've got a talent here that can help me, let's get the vacuum tube system up and running. I have the tubes. I just need the vacuum with the tube system, and we'll recreate it. So when you come in the museum, the kids can shoot the tube to the other end of the building. So that's a dream I'd like to do. Don't tell me, it probably bombed on me. Okay, just to show you, I've been meeting, for the last 4 years, I've been meeting in New York and Las Vegas and talking about the museum. And the Vision Council, which is the sponsoring organizations, all for it, they're thrilled. The Opticians Association of Mass has been coming for the last 4 years because of Diane Maddock, who's the secretary, bringing 400 to 500 people, and they're coming again in November. They're bringing business to town. As I said, I've been bringing other businesses. Vision Care Products, National Magazine, is featuring us monthly. Eye Care Business, Optician's Handbook, other publications are. That's a committee that I chair, and we're meeting in New York and talking at one point about the museum. So people are keenly aware throughout the globe of what's happening. And I'm thrilled to announce I chair an ANSI Z80 committee on eyeglasses. They're coming here. They're planning to meet here next fall because of the museum. Now, to me, that's exciting because that's my industry. But I think it's a shot in the arm. And every time I have somebody come here, they say, what a beautiful community you have. Wonderful. And what a beautiful facility, the hotel you have. And I hope they say, what a nice museum you have, but we'll see. But I have sponsorship by Zeiss, AO Eyewear, Victory Optical, two test labs, NSL Colts, the Vision Council, on and on. They're ready. They're primed. I've got the optical industry primed and ready, and they're going to donate. And as I said, my co-chair is from PPG. And I've gone through, I won't go through this, but I've talked with the National Geographic and the History Channel and the Smithsonian and go on and on. We're ready, but I need your help. I need your support, both financial and otherwise, ideas on displays. Here's a cool one, though. This guy named Simon Murray contacted me, and he's a character, I will admit, but he's in the eyewear costume industry for eyewear. And he says, Dick, I'm going to give you, because I've given all the eyeglasses for Harry Potter, The Matrix, Indiana Jones, Evita. I checked them out, it's true. He says he's going to give me these glasses to display along with the costumes and some autographs for the fall, so we'll see. I said, you do that for next August. Well, anyway, he came here with the blonde woman from Hollywood. She came here a couple months ago, and they're thrilled. Simon Murray, the guy in the blue shirt, is the one, he wrote that book, and he's supportive of the museum. We went to the Vienna, and I just had to show you the cool soup eyeglasses that he did. But we toured the facility. The guy next to Simon on the left is Dr. Fleischman, the world expert on eyeglasses, and he lives an hour away. So some of us eyeglass nuts, yes, it's for a certain audience. But what I want to impress upon you is it doesn't have to just be that audience. It can be that bigger vision. So now, what do I need? I need your ideas. I will need money. But we're going to look at fundraising, what our budget is and what we need. I have volunteers begun to line up, but I'm looking for your networking who can help, who can give me ideas. You know, you have an old computer. We're going to do different computer displays, videos, images of the flood, tornado, whatever you got. So I think it can be an attraction. It's not something we're going to charge admission for. Nobody's going to want to pay $15, $20. We'll take donations, and we'll open when we can. Probably won't be open till at least the fall, or limited staggered openings for some of the people that are coming. But I really could use your help, and I'll end on, first of all, like us on Facebook. By the way, I noticed right before this presentation was the wonderful video that the Vienna helped put together. You know, and I have a link to that on my optical museum site as well if you didn't catch it on this. But I'm proud of our town, and I think a lot of people when they come here are, wow, you have a wonderful town. I know it's not always easy to know that when you're embroiled in debates and issues, but we have a business opportunity here. And it may fail. I don't like to think that, but we're giving it a shot. So I'm working on the optical end. But I need your help to, how do we promote the industries of the area the history, the heritage of the area. And this comes at a perfect time on the 200th when we're thinking about it. We can have displays here. I'll have display space for you. If somebody has campaign brochures or, posters of the past, let's put them up. We're going to change out displays so it won't be, oh, that's what you got? I've seen it. We'd like to change it, have you come back. And I think the one thing we can tell, I've been to a lot of planning meetings. The one thing we really can market is our heritage. And I don't see that marketed, really. But I think here's your chance. So I know I took more than the 5 minutes allotted, but please don't think of it just as an AO museum, although that's a big plus in the optical industry. But this can be much more, and I think of it as your museum for your heritage. So that's my pitch, but I need help. So, any questions?
Councilor Marcucci.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Whitney, I can't thank you enough, and I believe the residents in Southbridge and the town council. You've put so much work and effort and volunteerism into this project, and you should be very proud of yourself. And I enjoy the pictures that periodically are in our local newspaper then and now, and it's amazing. And I will go out and recruit and try to get some volunteers to help you, including myself, because it's a win-win situation for the town of Southbridge. And, I just want to congratulate you and thank you for your efforts and what you're doing for the town of Southbridge and maintaining Southbridge history, which a lot of people don't know about. And I think it's very interesting, and I really like to thank you. You're doing a great job.
Well, thank you, and we'll see where it goes, but I'm excited, so thank you.
No,
And
appreciate it.
Talk to me privately if you have questions, and certainly suggestions to make it better, or what did you do that for? You can ask me, but I'll certainly try and answer. So thank you. And please visit opticalheritagemuseum.org or like us on Facebook or stay tuned. Oh, and I almost forgot. For those that, every 6 months, Peg and I put on an AO reunion. The next one is tomorrow noon. I'll be talking more about the museum. Even if you're not, if you want to stop by and don't plan on staying, but you want to hear more about this or talk to me, I'll be there at the Southbridge Hotel, 11:30. It's a buffet luncheon. We usually have about 25 or 30. I hope it'll grow, but it's retirees. They like to keep it luncheon. So tomorrow at 11:30 at the Southbridge Hotel. So I almost forgot. So thank you. Thanks for your time.
We do have another question for you.
I just want to make sure, I'm not sure if everyone was clear. The museum is going to be located, or is currently in the works is located at 12 Crane Street, correct?
Yes.
On the second floor?
Yeah, there's the access two ways, at the very end of the building or through the door on the right. And
So we're fortunate
there
to
will be
have that.
handicapped access elevator, that's alarmed, and we're working on it. But it's a huge, very ideal space. I've looked at a number of spaces and it's worked out, but I'd be glad to go through whatever questions on that or anything else with you individually.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything they wanted to add? Thank you, as
Thank you.
always, Mr. Whitney. Appreciate your volunteerism, your enthusiasm. This is quite a project. And that is the former artist complex at the 12 Crane Street. If you contact information is dickwhitney@charter.net, and you can certainly reach him through that. Thank you very, very much. Okay. I have a presentation, which is the update from the Bylaw Review Committee. From Lenny Laporte. Mr. Laporte, how are you?
Good evening. Leonard N. Laporte, 58 Columbus Ave, Southbridge, Chairman of the Bylaw Review Committee. Well, we were appointed on December 19th, I think it was 2011, to review the bylaws. The committee, which consisted of Sue Starkey, Pam Scowra, Dave Williams, Kevin Buxton. We've been meeting roughly every other week since then, taking one chapter at a time, going through it, revamping some of the stuff, trying to make recommendations to the council, like on the fine schedule, to create one specific fine schedule so that you're not looking through the whole bylaws to see what the fine is for a particular item. We've met with the citizens that have come forward with particular bylaws that they would like to see either created or reviewed. The helmet bylaws, some of you know, was someone in Southbridge had a serious accident, and they'd like to have seen a bylaw created for the kids either on bicycles, skateboards, the bikes, whatever, that they have helmets. We reviewed that. We're pretty much at the end of the bylaws now, and we are starting to meet with different department heads on a lot of the questions that we had. We've met the last couple of weeks with Mr. Moran from the Board of Health. We've also met with our town attorney, trying to clarify some of the items that we had concerns about, especially with the Mass General laws. Some other questions from the police chief concerning hawking of jewelry and stuff like that. We reviewed that bylaw. The youth protection, the sex offender bylaw, some of those new ones, really the town attorney was very helpful in addressing some of those concerns that we had. So hopefully we'll have a final presentation or a working document to provide to the town clerk and the town council with some of our recommendations that we've had. A lot of it too is, some of it was punctuations. I guess we have an English teacher on the committee, so that was really helpful. But basically that's about it. Hopefully we'll wrap it up in, I would say, next 4 to 6 weeks, hopefully. So if you have any other questions, or thank you very much.
Any questions from the council regarding the bylaw review? Councilor Marcucci?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you. Mr. Laporte, you said you're going to be wrapping it up shortly. Is that in that 4 to 6 week time frame that we would see this, or soon?
Well, we're hoping to get it done so that someone could type up a new bylaw, either on the computer or whatever. They put all our minutes and stuff, all the changes that we recommend. We'll sit down, reread the draft that we come with or come to, and then hopefully present it to, I believe, the town council for ramification or acceptance.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
this is probably for you. Is that something that's like a 3-reading process when we do that?
I would imagine so. It's going to follow the same protocol as other important laws, bylaw amendments. We do 3 readings for those as well, so it would fall in that category. The way we've done it in the past, not specifically the bylaw, but when we worked on the charter, was that we actually had a subcommittee meeting.
Yes, I think
the
that's
bylaw
right.
review committee would come to that subcommittee meeting and would go over the changes.
Correct.
You would have in front of you the new bylaws, and either usually highlighted are the changes in the text, and the bylaw review committee will go over the different changes with us, and then we would just accept it in a three reading format.
And you anticipate going before subcommittee?
I would think
review?
that would be the best way
Okay.
to go. That way the council has an opportunity, and anybody in the public has an opportunity to ask questions as they're looking at the actual changes.
Okay.
So that would be the way to go. It's not going to happen before the end of this term. So it's, if
That's how we envisioned the fact that it would go to subcommittee. We would meet with subcommittee and go over the changes. If there was any questions or concerns that we could address before the final draft came back.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Laporte.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Mr. Laporte at this time? Thank you very much for coming and giving us an update. We're looking
problem.
forward to seeing it. Thank you. Now, there's a little bit of a glitch in the agenda. Citizens Forum was not noted, and I would entertain a motion to add Citizens Forum as agenda item 7C this evening.
Second?
Okay. Can I have a roll call on that, please?
Counselor Marcucci?
Yes.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Peloquin?
Yes.
Counselor Regis?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clemens?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. Okay. Citizens Forum. Are there any citizens wishing to come forward this evening? If so, please approach the podium, state your name and address.
Maureen Doyle, 771 Lebanon Hill Road. Southbridge Fest was really great. I was there with the Sustainability Committee from Southbridge, and we had two recycling bins, and they were both totally used. But I was amazed that there were no other recycling bins there. And I spoke to one of the DPW people, and I don't mean to get anybody in trouble, but they were like, no, we're not taking those bags. We're not doing recycling, we're just doing trash. And I really think if the town is going to be doing recycling and trash, everybody has to be on board. People were using the recycling things that were available, so it's not like they wouldn't use them. And I'm just saying we should have more of them. You know, and I don't know why trash was available but not recycling, you know.
That's a good question. We'll look into
But
that
otherwise, Southbridge Fest was really great. So,
for further.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other citizen wishing to come forward?
Good evening. Mark Moore, 17 Ames Street. I'm also the chairman of the Economic Development Commission. And what I was coming here tonight for was to basically give you, I believe I passed out a pamphlet to all of you so you know what I'm talking about. We're starting a program in Southbridge. We hope it to be an annual one where it's called Best Dressed Southbridge. And what it is basically a program where people basically of different industry, office, retail, residential owners, residential investors, residential renters, clubs, groups, civic organizations, and also adopt a spot. So there's a few places in town where you can adopt a spot and take care of it. And what we would do is give you, there's an application program. You can nominate anybody you want, or someone can nominate themselves, basically, and do a project in their property. And what we would have is a set of judges that will go out and review all the properties and make determinations of who would win, basically. There will be also a nomination committee that will review the nominations. That way to make sure that they're residents and everything, different people in town. And there also will be a judge committee at the end. And the judge committee hasn't been completely set yet, but we have like 3 or 4 people that will be on it. We're going to try to get a 5-member panel for that. And from that point, what we'll do is sometime in September, we're hoping to end on August 31st on this. We're starting June 1st. We've already really started. August 31st will be the end date, and sometime in September, we will set up a time to be determined, basically, and make a presentation of cash. There will be a cash prizes, and there will be a sign put on the person's front lawn or business's front lawn, basically showing that they have won their category, basically. So the other thing will be that we have also some local volunteers, trades volunteers, who will go to the properties, if called, for free advice, basically. There's a few people involved. There's Ken Larishel from Larishel Electric. There's Kenny Talbot from Talbot Painting. And there's Rick Leo from Menard Glass, Jason Cantera from Cantera Landscaping, Paul Benoit from Paul Benoit Masonry, and myself. And basically, these numbers will be down at the Sandy Ackley's office, down the Development Commission downstairs. And all you have to do is call in and ask for the numbers, and they'll be able to call. The numbers are all listed down there. We didn't want to put them on the applications.
Okay, so just to kind of recap what you've said, this is I'm going to read it if I could.
Okay.
Established, this Best Dressed Southbridge Annual Recognition Program has been established for the purpose of providing recognition and positive reinforcement for property owners, tenants, or caretakers who demonstrate pride in their community through improvements in the structure, hardscape, or landscape that improves the value and appearance of properties for the enjoyment and benefit of all. That's the goal here.
That's the goal, yes.
Now, they can contact Sandy Ackley's office to get a nomination form?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Nomination forms will be in Sandy's office. Also, they're going to be posted on the website.
Okay. They'll be posted on the website or Sandy Ackley's office, and the nomination period is from June 1st through August 31st.
August 31st, yes.
Okay. And the list of tradespeople, volunteer tradespeople that you just named off, these are people who have offered their expertise to any nominee or potential nominee who seeks guidance in determining how to get started with a project. These services will be offered at no charge and may be accessed through the Office of the Economic Development Director. Now, I'm not trying to repeat everything you said, but I couldn't hear you, and I don't know if the people in the audience could hear you. Something seems to be awry with that microphone because I'm having trouble hearing anybody tonight up there. So that's what this is about. Now, you say that they can get, is all this information, this is on the website explaining?
It's going to be on, I don't know if it's actually been posted. It was supposed to possibly be done this week.
Okay, so you're going to put it on?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
So, and one other thing we're looking for, I mean, we do have donations already.
Okay.
But we're looking for more.
Okay.
Basically.
Certainly.
So we are talking to different businesses in town for donations, but anybody who feels they wish to donate will be gladly take it. And also, there is, what was the other thing? I had it a second ago, now I lost it. But, volunteers. Anybody who wants to be a volunteer as far as a judge, just to contact Sandy down in the Economic Development office downstairs, and she'll notify us of who is. We have a few now already. We'd like to get at least 5 judges, and we have, I believe, 3 right now. So we're still looking for 2 more. Okay. And what we're trying to do is get at least a diverse group that would be able to judge something like that.
Sure.
So.
Okay. Councilor Clements, I think, had a question for you.
Or just a comment, you did a great job in reading the information and making sure everybody knows, but I want to make sure it's clear, too, that this isn't just for a property owner. You could be a renter, and you do something to improve wherever you are. There are various categories, you mentioned some, but industrial, office, retail, residential as an owner, residential as an investor owner, residential as a renter, as I just said, and perhaps you're just a member of a club, a group, or a civic organization, and you want to participate and perhaps adopt a spot, as you said.
Right.
Or perhaps it's your own group spot that you're doing.
Yeah.
But certainly there's a lot of potential here for people to get involved.
Yeah, we tried to include as many people in the message as we could.
Let's have a best dressed town, right?
Yeah, and if we can get a few people to, paint things up, fix things up, it's that much better for everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Anybody else have anything they want to add or ask? Thank you, Mr. Moran.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay.
So good evening. My name's Daniel Pellegrini. I'm a citizen of Southbridge and a resident. I live on the south side of Southbridge. Love the area. And I don't have a lot of time to come here all the time because I'm too busy trying to make a living. But some concerns have come up, and I'm I'm upset. I'm upset as a citizen. I know you all work for no pay. It's a tough job. You got to come here and you got to work all these, in particulars out bylaws, the bylaws and everything that you got to deal with and subcommittees. And I appreciate that effort. And the last time I was here really putting up a battle was when I moved in when AT&T wanted to put a tower up in our backyard. And we fought that battle successfully. And they moved out of town and said, we're not going to keep this battle going. So we saved the aesthetics in that area. So that was the last big battle I ever fought up here. My battle here tonight is that, and it's how upset do I want to get about this? When I go to pay my water bill, I'll start with there first. The water bill has went up quite a bit. Everything goes up. You got to pay for service. That's the way of the world. But I want people that are going to work in my behalf to keep my costs down. My costs are not going down. They're going up at a high rate, okay? The water bill has gotten unreasonable at one point now to where it's getting upsetting. But when I go to pay my bill with anybody, with this town, with Verizon, Charter, people that I'm loyal to as a customer, and I'm a loyal citizen, I expect not to be nickeled and dimed and squeezed with late fees and interest fees. I'm all for paying my bill on time, and I think we all should be responsible and pay our bill on time. But what I'm noticing because of the loss of business or the loss of revenue is all these companies, coming up with these late fees or finance charges or interest, and all these things are going on for people that are trying very hard to pay their bill every month and their taxes. My tax bill is almost $4,000 a year now. I mean, I live in a decent town, but it's not Newton. It's not these other towns that charge a higher tax rate because of their school system and other things they have to offer. So when I go to pay my water bill, and I'm on like a day off. I was going to put it in the box the night before, and I go in to pay the water bill. I don't know how they compute it on the computer, and she tells me she's just doing her job, and that's all I'm here for. But you get paid by this town, and I'm the one that pays your check. Okay, my tax dollar pays you. So my upsetness starts with you, and then on with the clerk, and now with town hall. But to say to me, from the due date is June 5th, and say it's 31 days, and that day that comes after, you're starting to be charged interest or a late fee, I don't understand that. I don't like it. When my due date's due on June 5th, like I've told these other companies I do business with, I look for some grace period to make sure I can catch up on my billing. Not to be nickeled and dimed. It's not the $3.40 I'm upset about, is applying it day in and day out after that. Now, if someone's late 15 days after a due date, it's warranted. It's warranted to do interest and late fees, or maybe 30 days. And for an example, like I told Verizon, I'm about to change carriers. The late fees, the interest they want to hit me with, and when I have to do business as a real estate broker or an owner, and I got to accept orders on my phone, and I've been dealing with my BlackBerry, which I should have updated long ago, my kids get these smartphones. So my phone breaks, I go into the store looking for service to walk out with a phone. They implement a policy, whatever policy you implement for late fees and interest, that if you're 3 days past your past due, you're shut out from doing anything. We don't want to let phones go out of the store. I made a big issue out of it in the store and the supervisor. Not only did I walk out without the phone, I walked out embarrassed, and I've been a customer of them for 10 years, just like I've been a resident here for 11 years. So all this has been stirring in me the past 3 or 4 months. Like, in network, you're just not going to take it anymore. Because I get this itch in me now that's like, should I move out of this town and go to another town and stop taking my tax dollar that I work hard for? It's something I'm thinking about. Like Verizon, like Charter that has a monopoly, and all these things with all these companies. So I said to the supervisor, what do you want out of me in Verizon? You want my loyalty, don't you? You want my residency, right? You want my tax dollars, right? I said, what I want is better service. And I'm not getting better service when I'm getting nickeled and dimed for interest and late fees every day. There's got to be some grace period for loyal residents and loyal customers. 15 days, 30 days. For me, if you're late 30 days after your due date, you should be penalized. So that's it about the nickel and dime on the late fees and the interest. Something should be done about that for the resident, okay? I know you need to make revenue, and I know you need to bring revenue into the town. And if it's, the presentation of the museum was wonderful. I love museums. Is it going to generate any revenue? Is it going to generate business like the Southbridge Conference Center? Is it going to bring, these people in town? We're talking about a revitalization downtown that Senator Moore, I catch things as I go and I read things.
Mr. Pellegrini,
Yes.
1 second. 5 minutes is up. Do you want more?
I'd like to get a few minutes, at least 5 minutes more if I can.
You can get 3 more minutes. Do I have a motion to give Mr. Summer?
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Thank you, and I'll try to keep it to that and be done. I don't want to keep tying these up any longer than I have to, and I try to make it up here when I can, but it's difficult. But the revitalization of downtown, we got a desolated downtown. Senator Moore got some money to revitalization of these buildings to beautify it, maybe like a downtown Quincy Market, whatever you want to say, Faneuil Hall, and get people attracted to this town. We got a desolated downtown. Everybody wants to go to the malls and things like that. And you have a committee outside of the post office that you've hired of a survey to revitalize this town. So I tell them how I feel about things. What's getting done? You're not bringing business into this town. We're not bringing, the additional tax dollar. It's not coming in, okay? When I said to them, I pay an electric bill. What about all the lights we got downtown? That's just for an example. It really irritates me to see lights that are lit up like Gillette Stadium when you go in downtown, when you only need every other one. You don't need one every 10 feet. So there's an electric bill that could be reduced, like I got to shut my lights off to reduce my electric bill. So that's something I want considered. So I see every other one lit and take the other ones out in between. You don't need that much light downtown. Or the situations when we run into a fire department that has an old fire building and a police department that has a new one. I don't think it's right that the fire department doesn't have a state-of-the-art fire department for the kind of taxes we pay. And they should. Do we need such a large police force? I'm a big fan of Chief Charette. Me and him are friends. We talk all the time. We talked about the helmet law last year. I brought it to Lenny with my wife. I have a handicapped daughter that had a car accident at 16. She's got a head injury. I speak for the ambassador program of the Brain Injury Association. I'm very knowledgeable about head injuries, so I heard about Capello Park having the ramps and all that. Like a little concern there, so I brought it to the subcommittee. And I said, what about helmet laws? Massachusetts law, it's 16 years older and under. I go to another town, everybody's wearing helmets. I get into that subcommittee, the teacher says to me, geez, by the way, Dan, a kid just came into school with 2 broken arms from going off those ramps down there. I said, well, that's what I'm talking about. When a kid gets a head injury and the insurance has to pay it for the town, where does the premium go? Comes to me and all these citizens that pay taxes, and you if you live in town. This is where the premium ends up. And why it's taken so long, I know government can be slow and I know things can be tough, but 2 summers now? And now we're coming into another 4 or 6 weeks without the helmet law, that everybody that drives a bike in this town, a bicycle, should be wearing a helmet. I think they should be. I'm a little bit more sensitive about head injuries because now my daughter's 22, and I've been campaigning for it. But this is what the town should be working on, and things have to be done in a more timely manner. And the last thing I want to say is this. When you're looking at things, and when I heard the treasurer, I caught on TV the other night, that the state only allows us to charge so much, we're lucky that there's a Proposition 2.5. Because if there wasn't, how much tax would you be hitting us with? That's what I wonder. When the treasurer said the state's not going to allow us to do, they only allow us so much, well, how much do you want? Just because they allow you to take this much, is that what you're going to do to every citizen, is take as much as you can out of us? Or you're going to work to reduce that cost? That's what I'm looking for people to do on this committee, is reduce my cost a little bit, or at least keep it stable. Because it's becoming very unstable that I don't want to live in this town anymore because of it. And that, I'm not reflecting that it's anybody's fault, or a town manager that I think is doing a real good job when I read about what he's doing. And he's trying to manage this town the best he can. But we got to work as a unit, we got to work as a community, and we got to work the other way. Instead of looking for more, stabilize it, and just take what needs to be done to operate this town. Because it's really getting out of hand. To the point is, do I move? I love my town. I love Southbridge since I moved here. And I want to stay. But this is why I'm here. I'm here speaking about this with passion because I love the town. I love the aesthetics. I love everything that's going on. Would I like to see the town revitalized like that? Yeah. Would I like to see taxes stay a little bit reasonable? Just because the tax assessor said, well, this is what the law allows us, instead of value, we do it on the tax rate, doesn't mean you take all you can get. And I think these things got to be looked at. Because if it goes up any higher, it's just not worth living here anymore. And that's my point about a lot of these things that have been stirring in me that made me come here tonight. And hopefully, some things are going to be heard and some things are going to get done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pellegrini. All set?
Good evening. I'm John Pulaski. Old Woodstock Road is where I'm registered to vote at, and I'm glad you gave this last gentleman second 5 minutes to speak. I had asked for a little extra time the night you folks voted on the agreement with our landfill operator. I know you can't, nor would you if I had spoken that night perhaps, reconsider. It's probably too late to do that now. But there was other information I wanted to share. I think it's kind of funny. One thing I wanted to mention when there was talk of expansion, I'd recalled a conversation with Mr. George Chenier back in 2008, and he claimed one night that we would be expanding, I should essentially get with it, but we were going to be expanding that landfill over to the airport. I wanted to talk about that. I had no idea that there would be talk at the general government meeting about looking at other options with that airport. Mr. Chenier mentioned at that it was during Citizens Forum, a few months after we spoke about this expansion into the airport, that the airport would be expanded, the runway, in 2011. At a cost of approximately $1.5 million to $2 million, and that the town was only going to pay 2.5%, the state would pay 2.5%, and the federal government would pay the other 95%. Now, I don't know if we had an opportunity to do that a few years ago and we decided not to. I know from an old newspaper article that the FAA was against landfill expansion back in the Carter administration because of safety concerns. I don't know if that's why the road didn't get completed. A lot of people say the landfill's there anyway. None of us tried to close the landfill. We just wanted to slow down the use of it so that it would last for many years. And I'm not sure if people really want to expand it into the airport or not, but I'm concerned about that because the airport is good for the community. And something that happened at that meeting that I didn't think was good for the community, that the landfill operator gets a lot of help from this town. We gave them back their millions when the contract was originally approved. Then we loaned, we didn't loan them money, we borrowed money that benefits them at least more than the town at this time because they're the primary tenant up in that industrial park. We were told when I sat on that subcommittee from the people in the state, was it economic, some state committee that was giving money that wasn't an industrial park. It was too small to be an industrial park. Might make a nice office park, and I agree it would have. I would have liked to seen a school go there. I know that some schools had hoped maybe to go there. Colleges, small colleges, private, two are looking for heading up there. But one thing that concerns me, ladies and gentlemen, is that there's a lack of honesty that's occurring. Now, I know the councilors that spoke that said there's no discussion of expansion or no plans for expansion were being sincere. Perhaps they weren't informed about that. But it looks like, from talking to some stockbrokers, if you talk to stockbrokers about Casella Waste Systems, they'll tell you about some expansion that is expected in southern Worcester County. And I really, as you know, don't think it's good for the health of this community. There's some evidence that came out in an August 18th, 2009 meeting of the Board of Health. Now, I wasn't surprised by this, but these meeting minutes are missing. And the director of the health department stated at the last Board of Health meeting that they can't be found anywhere, and that the Attorney General's office said it's okay just to sign the agenda. Now, I don't think any of the members of the current Board of Health were even on the Board of Health at that time, maybe one. But our health director is telling the Attorney General's office that there's no available minutes or record of that meeting. Yet, absolutely, it has been saved in an electronic form. The director of the Board of Health, the director of the Health Department, knows about this record, and yet our town is informing the Attorney General that it doesn't exist. And this isn't, maybe the state's just winking back at us, but I think that needs to be investigated.
Your 5 minutes are up.
Okay. Well, I got in my concerns. It wasn't before the vote, but...
Excuse me. Do you want another 5 minutes or 3 minutes?
No, tonight, I probably said a little too much tonight, but I want this to be looked into. We got to start being straight, at least with the government.
So
That's how we don't tell the
you
people
don't want
everything that's
another
going
3
on.
minutes?
I don't need it tonight. Thank you, Madam Chair. I do hope everyone votes at the annual election, though, and I do hope people go to that hearing this Wednesday after
Do we have the date again that you just alleged these meeting minutes?
the meeting minutes in which the Attorney General said it's okay just to sign
August 19th.
August 18th,
Of what year?
2011.
Okay. 8/18/2011. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens wishing to come forward? Okay. Going to move on to agenda item number 8. Vote to transfer $3,000 from the Town Council Reserve Fund number 1-132-5781 to elections, salaries, and wages, seasonal positions number 1-162-5120 to cover the costs due to a special primary and election to replace John Kerry.
So moved.
Any discussion? Councilor Regis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the town manager. It's my understanding that the money is going to be returned to the cities and towns by the state, and I'm just wondering where those funds will go.
I think if we lay the money out from the reserve fund, then it would go to free cash if we get reimbursed next year.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody
Madam
else?
Chair.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Can I have a roll call, please?
Council Moriarty?
Yes.
Council Nicola?
Yes.
Council Peliquin?
Yes.
Council Regis?
Yes.
Council Vandal?
Yes.
Council Clemens?
Yes.
Council Langevin?
Yes.
Council Marcucci?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. 9, vote to approve the transfer of $10,500 from the Town Council Reserve Fund number 1-132-5781 to the Treasurer's Special Services Account number 1-145-5300 to fund the costs for tax title purposes.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Council Nicola?
Yes.
Council Peliquin?
Yes.
Council Regis?
Yes.
Council Vandal?
Yes.
Council Clemens?
Yes.
Council Langevin?
Yes.
Council Marcucci?
Yes.
Council Moriarty?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 10, vote to approve the evaluation of Christopher Clark, Town Manager, for FY 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Council Peliquin?
Yes.
Council Regis?
Yes.
Council Vandal?
Yes.
Council Clemens?
Yes.
Council Langevin?
Yes.
Council Marcucci?
Yes.
Council Moriarty?
Yes.
Council Nicola?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. 11, vote to ratify the amendments to the town manager's personal contract as detailed in the memo dated April 16th, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? A roll call, please.
Counselor Regis?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clemens?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Marcucci?
Yes.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Peliquin?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 12, vote to ratify that the town of Southbridge increase the gross receipts that seniors may have in prior calendar year to be eligible to defer property taxes under Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Clause 41A, from $20,000 to $30,000, with such amounts to apply to taxes assessed for any fiscal year beginning on or after July 1st, 2013, and to submit to council for ratification.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Regis.
Madam Chair, just, and I don't know, maybe this isn't a typo, but isn't it MGL Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 41A?
It could be. Let me take
Because
a...
it's section, chapter, section, and then subsection or clause.
So it should be as this, because the second
Yes.
agenda item number 13 has Section 5, so I can fix that. Can I have a
Motion to amend.
motion to amend it so that it reads under Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 41A?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. I think we can do a hand vote for this. All in favor of that amendment? It's unanimous. Okay. So that's what it is. Vote to ratify that the town of Southbridge increase the gross receipts that seniors may have in prior calendar year to be eligible to defer property taxes under Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 41A, from $20,000 to $30,000, with such amounts to apply to taxes assessed for any fiscal year beginning on or after July 1st, 2013, and to submit to council for ratification. I have a motion
So moved.
and a second. Any further discussion on this? No? Can we have a roll call, please?
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clemens?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Marcucci?
Yes.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Peliquin?
Yes.
Counselor Regis?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 13, vote to ratify that the town of Southbridge reduce the rate of interest that accrues on property taxes deferred by eligible seniors under Mass General Law, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 41A, from 8% to 5%, with such reduced rates to apply to taxes assessed for any fiscal year beginning after July 1st, 2013, and to submit to council for ratification.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Counselor Clemens?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Marcucci?
Yes.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Peliquin?
Yes.
Counselor Regis?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 14, vote to ratify. Now, this one, before I get into this one, there seems to have been, part of it is missing. I'm going to read it as it should read and ask for a motion to amend it to this, because part of it is missing and it should be in there. Vote to ratify the contract in the amount of $29,061.73 between the town of Southbridge and Stantec regarding negotiations with the insurance company on the settlement related to the airport rebuild. And this is the part that was missing in our vote here. And to appropriate $29,061.73 from the receipts reserved account number, let me say that again because I said a Z, receipts reserved account number 6901, insurance in excess of $20,000 to the tornado damage account number 9085.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. So I don't have to read it again because there it is. Okay. Any discussion on that? Just wanted everybody to know where the money was, what goes with that money. Okay. Can I have a roll call, please?
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Marcucci?
Yes.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Peliquin?
Yes.
Counselor Regis?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. 15, vote to accept policy directives in FY 2014 budget message as part of the town's future budget process.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on this? Councilor Regis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just quickly, with the public hearing coming up for the utility rates, do we currently have, or maybe are working on a retained earnings policy for the enterprise funds, similar to a free cash policy for a general fund?
Yeah, we don't currently have one. We will work on one formally. We have an informal policy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions on this? And a roll call, please.
Counselor Marcucci?
Yes.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Peliquin?
Yes.
Counselor Regis?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. Agenda item number 16, vote to authorize the town manager to enter into contract with the successful natural gas and electric suppliers for utilities related to the new middle high school, said authorization to expire July 31st, 2013.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? A roll call, please.
Counselor Moriarty?
Yes.
Counselor Nicola?
Yes.
Counselor Peliquin?
Yes.
Counselor Regis?
Yes.
Counselor Vandal?
Yes.
Counselor Clements?
Yes.
Counselor Langevin?
Yes.
Counselor Marcucci?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. Okay. Agenda item number 17 is Councilors Forum. Councilor Peliquin.
I just had one quick thing. Actually, two things. I lied. The first thing was I was concerned as to how the upcoming ballot questions are being publicized within the town. I know that when we signed the warrant, there was specific language there about being posted in a certain number of locations, and I was wondering if that was the extent of the town's involvement in sort of promulgating the numerous questions on the ballot. My concern in talking to a few people this weekend is that a lot of people haven't had the chance to read the questions yet and come to their own understanding about how they might like to vote on them. So I was wondering what we have done and what might be possible between now and the election.
That's actually a great question. What I've reached out to, I think we've reached out to both newspapers and wanted to see if they can do a story. I think generally when the legal ads are done, they're not always reviewed as carefully as front page stories. So it is our intent to get a hold of the two papers and to try to sit down with them and go through at least the process. As staff, we cannot necessarily advocate for a certain position, but we can certainly explain what the process was that was used, and then the ballot itself kind of lays out the pros and cons, and that was actually done by outside labor counsel.
So it is going to be published in the newspaper, though, just to clarify.
Not in the legal ads, but we are gonna
okay.
invite, and I think we may have already invited, or we're in the process of inviting, both newspapers to come in and do a story about the material. Myself and the town clerk probably just try to walk through to try to get press so people are aware of what the questions cover.
Are the questions available on the website by any chance, or?
They should be. If they're not, they
Okay.
will.
Okay. So that was the one concern about the upcoming election. The other thing was I had spoken with the DPW director last week about numerous issues that citizens had brought up. And I was kind of surprised to learn from her that the sidewalk across from the Golden Greek down on East Main Street, I guess, isn't going to be covered this year. I guess you guys needed the funds to do some road repairs or something.
Actually, two ways to answer that. One, when we did the public hearing in regards to the tornado relief, we needed to use money to finish that project on Charlton Street. And the question was whether the bids would come in favorably enough for us to have enough to do those sidewalk works. And then secondly, the state has increased the amount of Chapter 90 allocation that's been given, but they have not yet released the money yet. So depending upon when those actions occur, when that project gets done, and when we get the release of money, if we still are in construction season, then we will attempt to do it this year. Probably more likely than not, it will be the spring of next. I know.
Thank you for clarifying that for me. I wish I'd maybe known about this sooner than I did, because people have been asking me about it, and I've been saying, oh yes, the town is planning on doing that. So I feel kind of disappointed that I feel like a boob now, because I thought this thing was going to happen, and it's not at this point, so
You used the key word there. We are still planning on doing it.
So
it's just
we
a question of the availability of funds
Okay.
for us to be able to get to it.
I can call the governor's office.
Call the governor's office because, and Mr. Clark can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's his decision not to release all of those funds right now.
Right.
And we are going to miss out on, all cities and towns are going to miss out on construction season because of it, so.
It's just, I know that there's a number of things, like being on the DPW committee, you see all over town there are issues that need work. It's just, that's a particular area where I've seen like people pushing baby strollers in the street, and it seems really, really unsafe. So I'd like us to address it as soon as it is financially feasible. So, thank you, that's it for me, Madam Chair.
Councilor Marcucci.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Two quick questions. And through you to Mr. Clark, I received a note from a person that she was asking whether Casella would reimburse her for a trash barrel that they cracked and broke. And if they do, who do I contact, or who does she contact, or do we go through you, Mr. Clark?
I believe that Casella has a 1-800 number for trash pickup issues. She could
Okay.
probably start there, and then secondly, go to the Board of Health if she doesn't get some satisfaction out of that phone call.
Okay, thank you. And Madam Chair, I would respectfully ask you if a subcommittee meeting could be held on the personnel rules and regulations, because I do have a number of questions that I would like addressed, and I think that would go general government.
It shall go to general government. I'm glad you brought that up, because I've been sitting here listening to everybody, but also trying to think I can do two things at once. I don't know how. But anyway, I'd like to see that happen with the general government subcommittee. And I would like to, instead of bringing through the general government subcommittee, a discussion. Actually, I kind of like some input from the council on this. We do need to, the manager has established his goals and objectives. We need to do the same thing. And we can do it in one of two ways. We could include it in the general government subcommittee, and at that point, I would expect all of the members of the town council to attend that meeting, whether you're on the subcommittee or not. Or we can hold, or I can call, a council of the whole meeting, which would compel the council to attend and discuss their goals and objectives for the next fiscal year. So that's really something that I've been kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do with, how I wanted to do it. I think it's an awful lot to bring to a general government subcommittee both, unless you think we have enough time to hold two. What do you think, Counselor? How do you want to do it?
I wouldn't be adverse to holding, I think it's a lot to cover in one session.
Yeah.
But I'm not adverse to holding one week and one the next week and cover it all.
Okay. We could do it through,
So
we would do it through general government, and the council would try to make an attendance, make their way there, because I'd like all of the councilors to weigh in on at least the goals and objectives, and do what you think you need to do as far as the bylaws, the personnel rules and regulations.
Right.
You have...
Yeah, timing. Are you saying you want this, the goals and objectives meeting prior to election, or just after, the election week, for instance? Because next week, which is the week between before the
we're-
next meeting.
we're
Is there-
really
There's
up
already a
against it.
number of,
Yeah.
there's already quite a few meetings lined up. so-
Well, actually, I think it's Mr. Clark's contract that says, or it may be somewhere else, but I think it's in your contract that states that those goals and objectives should be set by the second meeting in June. I believe that it does state that. So that is the meeting of the 24th, so I do want to take care of that at least.
So which takes precedence, I guess, would be the question, in terms
Well,
of timing.
but then the July 1st for the personnel rules, Mr. Clark did state about the clerical union disbanding as of July 1st, and I think that it's up to us to go ahead and put these in place to give them some sense of
What I'm saying is there's meetings
they did the
here.
right thing.
That's a
Okay.
big thing for me.
All right.
And technically, regardless of election, everyone is officers until the end of the month or something anyway. So in terms of having a meeting on the 26th or the 26th, 27th, or somewhere in there, the next week after the election, that's possible too. So I'm saying if you've got one next week, say, and one on general government with rules, the regulations, and one for the goals and objectives.
But the only town council meeting left
Is the 24th.
is the 24th.
Right.
And that's where you would vote on.
On both items?
on
You're saying
both
we have to have
items.
both items?
Yeah. So it
Can
has
we
to
do
be
a Saturday
someplace.
like we did before? Anybody available on the 22nd? No. We did a weekend before.
Council.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Councilor Clemens brought up a good point for the discussion, and I believe in the discussion, and I understand what Mr. Clark's contract says, but again, I think we're doing things backwards. We're going to have a different makeup of councilors up here. They should be able to chime in, whoever it may be. We're going to set the man's goals and objectives, and then there's going to be there could be 2 new faces, it could be 3 new faces. We're doing it backwards.
I agree with you. However, that's how the contract
I know.
reads.
It's wrong.
I agree with you. It doesn't make sense, but it does read that in the contract unless we amend the contract.
Well, just to that point, my contract has been for 6 years. It's been some flexibility, and if we need to have a side letter or something saying I'm willing to do it in July, I'm perfectly content to do that. I think the counselor makes a good point with 2, potentially 3, new faces, and the goals and objectives being something that's looking forward. It makes sense to have the input of the new members of the council.
With that said, then, I guess we only need for us to schedule a general government subcommittee meeting to have all of the councilors review the personnel rules and regulations, the sitting councilors, and discuss that at your general government subcommittee meeting so that at the June 24th meeting, we can vote on that. Yes, sir.
Just one thing I probably should have said in the policy rules and regulations, personnel rules and regulations, 90% of what is in there is already on the books. So when you read through it, and I think we try to highlight those areas that are different, so I would it was a tremendous amount of work to get us to the point that we are now, and wholesale changes are just going to really upset the apple cart. My 2 cents.
Okay. Okay, yes.
On calendar-wise, I noticed that there was a notice in our packet for the master planning meeting scheduled for the 18th, but I didn't see a date on it. Do you happen to know on that Tuesday what the timing would be on that? Because it's another day of meeting, so I'm just, so we don't pick. I don't know whether planning and development on Monday will be short or long. That's up to Sandy.
Well,
and Wednesday is already a double meeting, so.
Well, Councilor Regis will talk to
It's kind of throwing it up.
Mrs. Tortoise and find a time quickly to get that in. Okay. Okay. Now, where was I? I was talking to Councilor Marcucci. Go
My
ahead.
questions were quick.
Oh, don't.
You guys were
go
not.
there.
So I'm all set.
You're
Thank
all
you,
set?
Madam
Yeah,
Chair.
yeah, okay. Councilor Regis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one thing, and this is the last time I'll ask about this, and in the future, I will hopefully be contacting Counselor Vandal regarding this. Route 131, coming from Dudley into Southbridge, around the corner by, oh boy.
D&D?
Thank you. Oh, old age. By D&D. When you're going to make left onto Ashland Avenue, that brush is overgrown again. Can't see, very dangerous. Please, if Mr. Trudeau could contact the state and see if we could do it, or they can come out and do it. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's it, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Langevin?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple things. First of all, as it was mentioned through a citizens, the Southbridge Fest, kudos to everyone. Everyone did a great job, and God was on our side on the weather. It did clear up, and that worked in our favor, but there was a good turnout, and everyone did a nice job, so kudos, and kudos to the citizens that came out and enjoyed the day. My other thing is I want to thank Mr. Clark. I would assume he's the one, but I did notice also on the Woodstock Road what Councilman Moriarty brought up with the traffic light. They didn't move the light sign, but they are making little amenities, it looks like, to make the sidewalk more user-friendly, especially for the handicapped people and stuff like that. So I appreciate that. And last but not least, again, I want to just clarify things so the public knows where I stand. When I mentioned about the airport, I did not mention about expanding the landfill. My intentions will never be to expand the landfill up there. It is what it is. But my expectations is to look into it, and they did have, and I couldn't make that meeting, but they had a little general conversation about it, which it was very vague. But my vision is to get the most out of our dollar up there, whether it's the current operator, whether it's a new operator, or whether it's using, and I'm leaning towards number 3 in my area, of the value of that land up there that is buildable just about already for businesses. I am looking whether it's industrial business or anything like that. So I don't want anyone to say that Dave Langevin is looking to expand the landfill. Not. But I am looking to bring in business, goes back to what we were just discussing about our taxes. And again, hold, right now, it's under contract with the airport, hold the fire to him and at least get him current on his little contract that he's having a hard time paying right now. Let's start with that one first. And then hopefully maybe when we reorganize as a whole, we can really get all parties together to help Mr. Clark make it a good informal decision, whether that's the airport commission people, just people's views and opinion on that. That's when I brought that up, that's all. Hey, I do like the airport, I like it. But then I also look at what's the return value on that land, and that's all it was. But it's never my intentions to increase the landfill. It never will be. So I just want that really clear out there before rumors start flying out there. And that's just my opinion. And that's all I have to say this evening. And thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councilor Moriarty?
Thank you. Just briefly, similar to what several other people had said, the Southbridge Fest I thought worked out really well. The weather was great, obviously, and it was a good turnout. A lot of different people there, a lot of different organizations there, so that was nice. Personally, I was unable to make it the other day, but Senator Moore was here kind of advocating for what he included, a line item in the Senate budget that's not yet adopted by the state, hopefully will be, that would bring in at least $20,000 to the town for the bicentennial in 2016. So hopefully that comes through, and I thank Senator Moore for being so aggressive in pushing for that. Then lastly, this upcoming Friday and Saturday, and I know probably every meeting or just about every meeting I mentioned something about the Relay for Life, but it's a big deal in town, and it's coming up this weekend. So this upcoming Friday and Saturday over at McMahon Field will be the Relay for Life. It's a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society. The update as of tonight, there was a meeting that I had to skip out halfway through to get here. They have 57 teams this year, which is up about 10 from last year, so it's growing there. 735 participants officially registered so far, which is up 106 compared to last year. So far, what has been turned in and collected is almost $84,000 raised, which is also ahead of last year's pace, and that does not include those monies that have been collected and not yet turned in. I know Councilor Langevin's a member of Team Hedgehogs, which just about every year is the top fundraising team, and they seem to always wait till last minute to turn in their money. So I'm sure we're probably really over 100,000 or pretty close to that just with them coming in. There are 188 cancer survivors that have registered thus far, which is also up from last year, 49 more than last year. And one of the big things in talking to some of the Relay co-chairs prior to coming here tonight to kind of collaborate with them as to what they kind of want to make sure I stressed here tonight. One of the things that is important to note is from the moment that you are unfortunately told that you have whatever form of cancer, at that point you are officially a survivor. So whether or not you're in the battle or have succeeded in that battle, you are a survivor at that point. And I know different people handle that different ways. Some like to kind of, once it's done, move past it and just kind of forget it. Others do, find other ways to deal with that. So if we could have anyone who's interested, anyone who is a survivor, the Survivor Lap, which kind of kicks off the relay itself, starts at 6 p.m. You'll want to be there early just because of the traffic and getting in and getting all set. But also, they also even have volunteers come up with all kinds of food and such. So around 4:30, they start doing a lunch and a dinner for the survivors, which is very nice as well. And that's really about it. Other than that, again, there's, where was it, about 735 people officially registered. There's a number, countless others that come down kind of off the street or don't register and come down, which was more than fine as well. And that's one of the other things, is you don't have to really know much about this. You don't have to come down and be part of a team. Just come on down and check it out, see what it's about. Ideally, bring a little bit of money with you to throw into the cause in one way or another. There's food, entertainment, all kinds of things down there, and it all goes to a good cause. And lastly, it's one of the more amazing numbers out of this is the Southbridge Relay. Every year from our little town here, of the 250 or so relays in New England, every year finishes, or just about every year finishes, within the top 25 per capita as far as money raised, which I think says a lot. But also, the relay, through the people running it, the committee and the co-chairs, we spend, it's really about a 4 to 6% overhead, which for this kind of an event is remarkable. And a good chunk of that even just kind of goes towards having to pay for all those porta potties that come down and things like that. There are certain fixed costs that you just can't escape. A lot of other things are donated, but so really almost every single cent is going towards support and research and treatment and all those sort of things. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Vandal?
I have quite a few questions, but I'm going to bring it up at my subcommittee on June 19th at 7:30 p.m. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, too. We have Councilor Clements?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a few things. One thing I would like to comment on, as did Councilor Langevin, and that was the citizen speaker who talked about the landfill issue. I did not like the word dishonesty being used, but people are welcome to come up and speak their piece. But it's unfortunate. There are many times when people will get up and will relay information that's not fully accurate. I, too, was at that meeting. Yes, we discussed all potential. That's our duty here in the town. But I, like Councilor Langevin, would not support additional landfill space, regardless of what we decide on the airport. And it would appear to me at that meeting that the other councilors in attendance did not feel that they would support something like that. So that's just my opinion. But again, unfortunately for the general public out there, you sit, you watch the reruns, and you sometimes listen to people who are not always speaking the complete truth or have the full picture of what's going on. So just putting my 2 cents in. Would also like to thank those who supported the Southbridge Fest. I was there for the day with the Cops and Kids booth, along with a number of other volunteers, and we had a great day. We want to thank Bella.
You got a little haircut, I heard, too, didn't you?
I was just going to think. No, I just had him trim up my back here. It was for a good cause. Bella, we were selling things, coffee, iced coffee and such, but we also had Bella Mia Salon came in and with, I think, 5 or 6 of their girls, and did an amazing job with haircuts. At first, I wouldn't have believed that people would sit there and get their hair cut on a whim like that, but for a $10 donation, you could, male and female, came in and sat, and at one point there was a line. So we thank them for giving up time on a beautiful afternoon, as it turned out, and raising some money for a wonderful program. We did well. We had sign-ups, Cops and Kids sign-ups, and raised some good money for the cause. So we are still continuing to receive donations. I'll do my plug as Councilor Moriarty likes to do his. We are still looking to raise more funds for the Cops and Kids program, and the program will go on this year thanks to the generosity of many so far, but we are always in need of more funds to keep the program going. So thanks to all who supported that. Couldn't do the parade. I heard the parade was wonderful. I did get a lot of citizens' feedback, actually, that the parade was wonderful. I just wish I could have been up there walking in it. I do want to mention open house at the landfill. That was something that actually bumped into you, Madam Chair. I believe it was June 1st, Saturday, June 1st. They did a wonderful job up there. It was a hot day. A lot of people probably had a lot other things that they chose to do. But if you ever have the opportunity in the future to take a tour of our landfill, you really should. It was well done. They had Knight's limousine service driving us around up to the top of the heap and explaining things in depth and taking a lot of questions. Roger Carwett was there, and I heard his was the longest tour because he had the most questions. But that's good because he's going to be an informed citizen, as we all should be. This is our landfill. This is our town. It is a big concern, and it's good to be educated in what's going on there. So it was a great job. They had a lot of good things, and kudos to them for putting it on for the public, and I do believe they will continue to have tour-type activities and events. So I hope that you'll take that opportunity. I was wondering, in terms of Councilor Peliquin asked about the questions, and I know I haven't seen much out there, I know the forms are usually, the ballot questions through you to the town manager, Madam Chair, are usually in the clerk's office. Is it possible to have them, maybe they already are, at the library or in another public place like that, or even just right on the hall table versus in the clerk's office? Some people feel a little intimidated walking in and trying to figure out where they're going in the town hall, but if they know that they're available to look at or pick up a copy,
we can do
is that possible?
I think we can do that, yeah.
So the public library could be a location, and certainly the town clerk's offices, so that would be wonderful. And I think I made a lot of notes, but I think that's about it. Keep your yards clean, keep your dog messes picked up. I gave thumbs up to a number of people I saw picking up dog poop with their bags, and I was very proud of them as citizens of our community. They set a fine example for the rest, so let's keep our streets clean. Thank you.
Next meeting date? Yes.
One thing, and I need to say this too, because again, we're talking about the landfill and the airport. I want everyone to understand that Jim's Flying Diner is open, okay? Because no, rumor gets out there, and I'm not there to destroy this man's business because he has a very good business. So they are open, they're not closing. So go up there and enjoy your activities up there because he's a very nice man, a hard-working man, and I'm not saying these things to destroy his business. So I just want the public to know the man is open for business. Get up there and support him. He's not closed. He's not going anywhere in the near future right now. So please get out and support him. Thank you.
Okay, not a problem. And the next meeting date?
Monday, June 24th, 7 o'clock here in Council Chambers.
I have adjournment.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you. Have a good week.